Welcome. In front of me I have the ROG Ally Xbox Edition, and I'll be going over the unboxing along with a quick look at the device itself. So anyway, you can see it on the side. So our ROG Xbox Ally X, that is the weirdest name, but anyway, the packaging itself is actually quite substantial, as you can see. And this is going to be the first time I'm actually going to be holding this in my hand, so see how that goes out. And I can already tell you, I'm not going to be too happy about this one, just because it's Windows. So even though it says Xbox, it's actually just a Windows device. Come on. No. If I only could cut boxes, that would be great. It's literally my job. There we go. Okay, now let's quickly take a look right here. So we have some information, and that information is number one, the model. Next is LCD 7-inch Full HD, a CPU AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme, storage 1 terabyte. We have 24 gigabytes of RAM, Wi-Fi 6E, that's pretty nice. USB 3.3, I think it's USB-C plus 4.0C. Okay, so it's okay, I get it now. It's USB 3, I think we have two C ones and one USB 4C. I don't know, whatever. Yep, there we go. There's the red flag. Windows 11 Home, great. I would love this. Like, wow. Battery cell, we have 80 watt hours, so that's pretty decent. And yeah, that's about it. So anyway, moving on. So again, cut more seals. 1 and 2. No. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. And inside here we have information on how you can just charge it and turn it on. Like, wow, no shit. I'm pretty sure we all know how to do that one. And then we have the device. There we go. Stop blowing yourself to the device, gosh. Okay, come on, there we go. Here it is. And that's a chunkers, okay. I'm gonna set it to the side right now, and let's take a look at what else we got in the box. It's ASUS, so I'm honestly not expecting too much from them, apart from a high price tag. Yep, that's paperwork, taking more space than it should ever be taking. Then here, oh, there we go, that's how you open it up. I actually get a charger. Surprise. And okay, that's it by the looks of it. Okay then. So we got a charger. Let's take a look at what it is exactly. So that charger is, if I can actually find it, 65 watts, which you can see possibly right here. So 65 watts, decent. Anyway, here's the device itself. Considering its size, it's actually lighter than you would have expected from this behemoth of a size. Hello? Can you like turn on? Come on, any moment now. Okay, so it's not going to be turning on, so let's try to plug it in. There we go. Stop running away, cable. It's a bit coiled. There we go. Will you turn on now? Come on. You just have one job to turn on. There we go. I presume the battery is actually half charged, as they usually are, so I think this is just kind of the device itself not wanting to turn on for the till you plug it in as a first boot. We do have this new logo, so ASUS/Xbox. And in a second we should see the god-awful Windows 11. Any moment now. Anyway, while it's booting up, let's talk about the display right here. So this, like I mentioned before, was a 7-inch display. It's actually running at 120 Hz refresh rate. It is an IPS display though, so that's kind of crappy, and it is 1080p, which for a handheld, I think it's pretty decent. We have Bluetooth 5.4 and Wi-Fi 6E, like I mentioned before, though not the Bluetooth part. So Bluetooth-wise, it's also pretty decent. 24 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM, which will also double as VRAM for the GPU. 1 terabyte of SSD M.2 NVMe storage, and Z2 Extreme processor, which is 8 cores, 16 threads, and it's just an improvement over the previous Z1 Extreme. Now, I do want to check, actually I already know. So the price for this is actually on a higher end, and something that I just kind of have like a mixed opinion about is handheld prices. Now these devices were designed to be kind of like a cheaper alternative, at least at the beginning, to just a normal gaming computer. But ever since, you know, the big boys joined the table, they started swinging their meat all around and releasing, you know, consoles for $1,000 freaking dollars, kind of, you know, blurring the lines of what the hell is a computer, or laptop more like, because they're basically making a laptop with Windows on here, just a stupid one that doesn't have a keyboard, and making it.
Set up your device using a screen reader.
Shut the hell up!
By pressing Windows.
Shut the hell up! So there's our shitty Windows, the thing that I just least like to see ever. And this is a more cut down version of a Windows designed for these kind of devices, but it doesn't really matter, it's still Windows. And I personally absolutely effing despise Windows. At this point, I am definitely not going to be using Windows 11, no matter how much they want me to. And shit, I would prefer to have my device unprotected rather than use this abominable dog shit right here. And luckily, because this is just a normal computer in reality, no matter how much fluff they put in here that, it's a, you know, gaming version of like Windows, you can still install Bazzite. Or even better, you can just install official version of SteamOS. So that's much better than running this piece of shit right here. That's just my general stance on here. Obviously, not everyone will agree with me. Some people will prefer this over Linux, because SteamOS or Bazzite, they're both Linux. So my personal preference is I would rather have Bazzite or Linux rather than this, and I'll take the occasional annoyances over the annoying entire system. So with that, one thing that I do want to talk about is the comfort right here. So this feels pretty good to hold. I want to point that out. It's ergonomically very well designed. It's designed for an adult though, so if you have child hands, this might not be the best kind of thing for you to hold, just because it is a chunker. So like this feels good in my hands, like it feels full, if that makes sense. It feels bigger than an Xbox controller to hold, and I don't mean like this part of it. I'm talking about just the grippers right here. These feel solid, these feel full. They feel like they're designed for an adult person. Position-wise, also pretty decent, though this is more traditional Xbox by the feel of it. We also have the D-pad right here, which is just kind of mid in feeling. Typical A, X, Y, and B buttons. We have our menu buttons plus, not ROG space, it's Armory Crate. There we go, that's what they're calling it. Xbox button, as it is a collaboration with Xbox, so you do have a dedicated button for that one. And at the top we have our dual USB-C ports, our SD card reader, our headphone jack, volume up and down, plus power button that doubles as a fingerprint sensor, exhaust, our linear triggers right here, both of them. and normal shoulder buttons right here. And then we have the joysticks right here. And that's about it. Oh, right, one more thing. We do have additional mappable buttons right here that they seem to reused from the previous ROG Ally X, to be exact. They look about the same and feel about the same like the Ally X. And thus the back looks about the same to Ally X, well, minus the actual like grippers right here. Also, it's a little bit slanted right here towards like it's extending when the screen is. And additionally, one thing that I would love to see, but it hasn't been changed, is the screen to body ratio, or even the bezels. So you can see the screen bezels are still as big as they used to be right here. So not really any significant improvement made right in this department. So that's something that I would have loved to see. It would have been a nice feature. We also have our speaker grills right here, and microphones at the top between, or like right above these buttons. You can see these holes. And if I actually zoom in very close or bring this up close, I can see that this weird kind of like dotty kind of design right here, that's kind of ripped from PlayStation. Let me just zoom that in. And see, this is just straight PlayStation design with A, X, Y, and B design. Although I don't really see Y's. Oh no, wait, it's not X, Y, and B, it's ROG. There we go. Okay, so I'm just being stupid. Although these look like X's. So X, O, X, O, R, G. So yeah, it seems like it's just... Oh, okay, so it goes down. That's why I'm being stupid. It's a ROG Xbox. Yeah, it says just continuously downwards. ROG Xbox, ROG Xbox. Okay. But like I said, it's a kind of a feature that is straight ripped from PlayStation with their kind of design. They also have this kind of weird design, though they have it on the actual console itself, and it's actually like embedded in here. This is just more of a matte / smooth design, so this doesn't really you can't really feel this. It just has like a tiny bit of a weird texture to it, but compare it to PlayStation, they are actually just like, you know, three-dimensional XO and the XO and or zero, whatever you want to call it, circle, squares, buttons, plus triangles. So here this is just smooth in comparison. We also have a bit more texture right here, which again you can kind of see, though this doesn't have any kind of design to it. It's just texture, and ROG logo right here on the corner. Same thing goes on the other side. And yeah, that's basically everything to it. Let me just zoom out. It's a solid console. I don't want to take it away from it. It is a solid console. It feels really nice in hand. But some of the feature or some of the ideas of a handheld console are taken away, considering these are getting bigger and bigger. And it just became a corporate race to who can make the fastest, baddest kind of console, where price be damned. Like, who gives a shit about the price? Let's just make it the best. Obviously, it wasn't like that before, and I don't think it still is. People don't really care that much about the performance if they're gonna be paying so much more. And there is a reason why something like the Steam Deck is selling so effing well, because number one, it costs very little in comparison to this. It's like nearly $1,000, if not even $1,000. So it is an expensive console, handheld, whatever you want to call it. And you can get something like the Steam Deck for, what is it, $300, and have an OLED display. It will be definitely slower. I don't want to put that out there, like, and take it away. So this is much faster, but if you're spending nearly $1,000 on a handheld like this, I don't know, it just feels odd. And furthermore, like, if you consider the improvement over the previous X1 Extreme processor, or X1, a Z1 Extreme processor, this isn't that big of a jump. It's not going to make that much of a difference. And there's still things like the ROG Ally X, which you can most likely at this point get cheaper than this because it's an older generation. Or stupidly cheap, you can get the ROG Ally, not the X1. Now, the downside is the battery will be pretty crap because the battery life was the bane of its existence. But those devices secondhand are dirt cheap. And I'm talking about still the Z1 Extreme processor, not the Z1. As they do have two different versions that are both wide, they both look identical, just one will be much crappier than the other one. So I'm talking about the Z1 Extreme. They are very cheap in terms of what you get. And the ROG Ally X, the improved version, the one that comes with still Z1 Extreme, just bigger battery and more RAM. That one was, when I was looking at them, more expensive. Definitely increasingly more expensive. While not really offering that much improvement. I mean, the battery being one of them. But one of the things that I liked about the original version of the ROG Ally was the shape. It wasn't necessarily super ergonomic, but it was much smaller because of it. It didn't have this much thickness to it. It was much easier to pocket it into your backpack or just any kind of smaller space compared to something that looks like a stretched out gaming pad, like a full gamepad and a chunky one on top of that. So in terms of transportability, this obviously has a you would say kind of lower score right here. And because of that, because the ROG Ally original ones will be much cheaper now because of existence of this one, I think I'd much rather get the cheaper one, have just a slower device that offers very close experience to this. It might not feel as good in hand, but it will be much easier to transport. That's just kind of my approach. And if I really want something that will also last in terms of battery life, I could always go for the Steam Deck with an OLED display, which is just superb. This just seems like a step in a wrong direction, in my opinion, as I don't think consoles need this much power, especially if you're going to be kind of paying increased price tag, and I'm talking about significantly increased price tag, just so you can get barely 60 frames while playing a game. So this is, I think this is just kind of my approach right here. Might be better to pick up right now something much cheaper and enjoy that while playing less demanding games, and wait for things like the Ryzen AI 300 or 390 something processor, which is much more powerful than what we have right here. Wait for that to be more commonly used and cheaper, and then maybe pick that up instead, or even further on into the future look for something. This is seemingly just kind of in this point where it's very good, but it's also very expensive, and it's not good enough to justify that price. So there's this cliff between at this price what you should be getting and what you are actually getting, and at a significantly lower price you can get something that is still good, and I think price wise much more worth than what you have right here. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this. But just to be fair, this is still a great device. I just don't think it's great for the price. So with that being said, I hope you found this very helpful. And if you did, don't forget to smash like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.